Hello, everybody. We are live for this interview of our Blake Friday bundle series. Thank you for being here with me and my guest, Andrea, today. And we are going to talk about a lot of different things in terms of video and why it's important for online entrepreneurs to be using video like we're doing right now. But before we dive into that, I just want to remind everybody that the Blake Friday bundle is officially open. Yay! The doors opened today, November 21st at 8 a.m. Central. And you can get access to more than 70 really, really great high quality resources for only $7. It's insane. It's an amazing deal. That's why I named it after myself, because it's such a great deal. And I had to play on the whole Black Friday thing. I just couldn't resist it. So if you haven't grabbed the bundle yet, make sure that you grab it. We linked to it in all of the different places. You can see it here. If you're watching live, we link to it. Or if you are listening to the replay on the podcast, we link to it below. So you can go ahead and grab that before November 26th at 11:59 p.m. Central, then it will disappear forever. So make sure that you get it before then. And Andrea, I want to talk about the products that you contributed to the bundle. So I know you have your video action plan workbook. So do you want to share a little bit more about that? And before we do that, tell everybody who you are. Tell them what you're great at.
So I'm Andrea Stenberg, and I am a video marketing coach. So I work with online entrepreneurs. Usually they're people who care almost more about making an impact and helping people than they do about building their business, but they also want to build their business. And I help them use video to increase their visibility and build connections with their audience and actually grow their business. Because a lot of people who come to me, they've been making video because somebody told them it's important, but they're not actually implementing a strategy that's going to help them grow their business. And I think, like you and I both know, you can have great aspirations to help people, but if nobody knows that you're there, you're not helping anybody. And that's my passion, is to help all these amazing entrepreneurs that I meet build the businesses that they want and need.
I love that. That's great. And yes, if people don't know that you exist, they cannot buy from you. And then you just have a very expensive hobby because you're not making money and you're not a business. Right? So love that. And so that product you can get for free inside of, well, not for free, basically free when you sign up for the Blake Friday bundle before it ends on November 26th. And it's normally $27. So oh, no, we didn't even talk about your product yet. Oh my gosh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the product that you contributed to the
Video Action Plan Workbook. And so if you're planning to, say, do a live video and you want it to really have impact, there's a lot of moving parts, and it's really easy to skip something or forget something or have things go wrong. So this workbook works you through all the steps, from figuring out what do you want to talk about on your video, coming up with the title, creating the Facebook or LinkedIn event or wherever you're going to do it, creating the graphics, coming up with a description, figuring out what you're going to say, what to do right before you go live, including, like, one time I went live and it wasn't until I looked at the replay, I discovered a big piece of spinach right there. So even just something simple like brushing your teeth before you go live, stuff like that. And then there's also a section of what do you do after you've gone live, because just because you've gone live and you've finished the video doesn't mean you're done. You can still get impact and reach and views from your videos. So that's what this workbook is. And, if you're a paper person, you can print it out and then check things off as you go. If you're a digital person, I think I created a Google Docs version of it as well. So you can save it to your Google Drive and then just reuse it every time you want to go live. So I kind of created it for myself first and then realized, no, I can't just hoard this. I have to share it with other people so that everybody can have kind of a more seamless live video experience.
Yeah, that's amazing. And those are the best products, right? Because we create them to solve our own problems. And then we're like, oh, other people should have access to this because other people inevitably have these same problems. So I think that's great.
And it's like, I've test driven it in my own business. So I know what the pieces are. I know the pieces that people forget, or you come to the last minute, go, oh, I should have done this. And now you can just have peace of mind so that when you go live, you can just focus on your presentation and what you have to say, and you don't have to be scrambling about all the tech and all the marketing and all the other pieces.
Yeah, exactly. You just focus on whatever you're there to focus on. Yeah, I think that's great. Now, again, I just got way ahead of myself before. And I meant to say now that the Video Action Plan Workbook, it is normally $27 if you were to buy it separately, but you can get it. Anybody listening here who gets that Blake Friday bundle, the entire bundle, more than 70 different resources, is $7. Okay, so that's, again, like basically free. It's not technically free, but it's basically free, right? And we also have an optional VIP pass that just like really takes your bundle experience to the next level, and you get access to over $1,000 in other bonuses. So do you want to share more about the product that you contributed to the LinkedIn profile makeover?
Well, one of the things I've noticed is LinkedIn's kind of having a bit of a resurgence. Like for a while, it was kind of a wasteland. Like when Microsoft first took it over, they kind of broke it, but then they fixed it again. And I've been getting lots of connections, lots of traction, business from LinkedIn, and I'm seeing more and more people are back to using it again. But I'm also seeing people who are missing some really valuable real estate in their LinkedIn profiles because LinkedIn, like when it started, it was an online resume, but it is not anymore. It's a multimedia marketing channel. And if you fill out your LinkedIn profile correctly, you'll get found in LinkedIn search. You can get found in Google search. And you can make it so attractive that if people come across your little thumbnail and your little headline, they click through, read your profile, and you can actually encourage them to take action. Because if somebody goes to your LinkedIn profile, they're probably looking for what you have to offer, and you need to, craft a profile that makes you look so exciting and so enticing that they want to click through and connect with you, and then they want to send you a DM or look at your contact info and visit your website or whatever your call to action is. But you really need to work on the LinkedIn profile. So I created this kind of step by step. And it's one of those things, you're probably not going to do it all in one sitting. You're probably going to want to do it over a couple of weeks because there's a lot of pieces in your LinkedIn profile. But once you're done, like it can be a real client attraction magnet for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I'm going to be honest. I know the power of LinkedIn. I have not used LinkedIn since I left corporate, and that was almost 6 years ago. That was really the last time I used it. And I know that things have changed drastically. It is just a completely different world over there. So that's why I haven't even touched it with a 10-foot pole, because I was like, I don't even know what's happening over there. And
And if you don't have your LinkedIn profile, fleshed out because they've changed things. So sometimes the image sizes are different. It can look like you haven't been on in a long time. So if somebody comes across your profile, they go, oh, they're not using it anymore, and then they'll skip by to somebody else. So it's a wasted opportunity. And the nice thing is once you've updated your LinkedIn profile, like it's not something you have to visit every day and keep at updating your profile. Like it's kind of done. I mean, you still want to be posting content, but the profile itself, you just have to sort of check back periodically that LinkedIn hasn't changed the photo sizes again or something. But it's something that will last for a good while.
that's a great piece of advice, because I should go back and look at it, because I don't even know what's on there, to be honest with you. So maybe I'm sure the photo sizes have changed and everything is outdated. So that's a very good reminder that even if you're not using LinkedIn, or if you've used LinkedIn at some point in your life or career, go back and just check it out.
And if
And
you're doing any kind of online networking, very often the first thing that people share in their when they're in the chat at a virtual networking meeting is their LinkedIn profile. And so, if you want to follow up with people that you've met at a networking meeting and build relationships, or, potentially get new customers or whatever you're networking for, you want to put your best foot forward, because oftentimes it's people, they've met you for a couple of minutes in a networking meeting, and then they go to your LinkedIn profile, and that's kind of like your real kind of virtual introduction to people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're completely right. You are completely right. I don't do any networking. So it's like, I'm such a bad entrepreneur at times. I'm just gonna kind of live in my own world over here, but still make a lot of connections just in my own very unique way. But these are all really good pieces of advice and things that I will be implementing myself as well. So I want to talk a little bit more, just for the next couple of minutes, about video specifically, because I know that is something that's important for everybody. And I mean, you can use, oh yeah, obviously we're streaming live on LinkedIn right now. You can use live video on LinkedIn, right? So like that's how all of these pieces tie together, right? So let's talk a little bit about your favorite strategies for using live video.
Well, and one of the things that I love about doing live video is the first time I tried to edit a video, I was this close to throwing my computer out the window because I was so frustrated. And so if you use live video, you can kind of skip that step because
Yeah.
you just have to find that button that says start broadcast, and you have to know how to end the broadcast so that
Yep.
when you're done, you're done. But other than that, then it's really about sharing your message and speaking on camera. So that's one of the things that's really I find really fabulous about live video. The other thing is, I find a lot of people kind of skip some of the ways to use live video because a lot of people just focus on going viral and getting new people to discover you. And that's nice, but that's not the real power. The real power is people who are already connected to you and staying in front of them, reminding them who you are, reminding them what you do. And then when you have a launch, maybe you're launching a new course or you've got a new program and you're kind of asking for the sale, people already know who you are and they're kind of already sort of in the back of their mind thinking, yeah, I could work with this person.
Mhm.
I've had people where we get on a Zoom, one of those Zoom sales calls, and they'll say to me, you know what? I've been watching your videos and I could really see myself working with you. I get how you work. And that's really what your aim is, to get people to virtually look you in the eye, get a taste of your personality. Because we all know there's different, if you're a coach, there are different style of coaches. There's like touchy feely, like there's one coach I know, and he says in person, he gives everybody a big bear hug. And anybody who stiffens up, he's like, yeah, they're not the person for me. Cause he's he's kind of one of these touchy feely, lovey dovey coaches. And so, having a video like that, I know some people who are crack the whip, like, yeah, like taskmasters, almost mean and abusive. And some people want that from a coach. So having video lets people get a taste of what it's like to work with you in a completely risk-free, neutral environment, because they don't even have to give you their email if, depending on where you're posting it. And, everybody knows when they book a call on Zoom that you're going to be making an offer. And so people don't do that until they're really close to making that leap. But if they're seeing your video on LinkedIn or on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're posting it, it's very risk-free. It's low risk. It's even lower risk than signing up for your lead magnet. They can just look at what you have to say and start getting a handle on what it might be like to work with you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's so funny because when you were talking about like the person who's like lovey-dovey and wants to hug you, and then the person who is like cracked up, I'm like, I am like the perfect combination of both of those because I will never be abusive to people ever. But I'm like all the people I work with, they say it's like the Steph tough love. And yeah, I just think it's so true. And when it comes to live video, especially, that's not something that you can fake either, right? Like you can't edit that. People are really going to see who you are and what you're all about.
And it can also be really in your benefit, because I was talking to somebody the other day about how when she records a video, she gets all stiff and formal. And when I pre-record a video, I'm kind of better at it now because I've been doing it for a long time. But I would put on this fake broadcaster voice. Like, you remember the old Mary Tyler Moore show and Ted Baxter when he went on, he had this deep, I would kind of do that. But when you're live, even if you start off with your fake voice, because you're having to think on your feet and maybe you're like saying hello to people who joined you and you know that if you make a mistake, you have to keep going, you stop being fake and you just kind of be yourself. And that's so much easier.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's so funny. My family always makes fun of me because they say that I have a phone voice, which I absolutely do. And I think a lot of people do actually. When you go to call and your voice is completely different, and then throughout the conversation, like you were saying, it changes back to your normal voice. So Yeah, that's so funny. I completely agree with that. So yeah, exactly. It's allows you to be much more authentic. And even if you are recording video, because I know we're not talking specifically about live video, but we're just talking about video in general. I think, especially if it's something that you are really comfortable talking about, that fakeness, quote unquote, kind of also goes away, right? It's much easier to be transparent and authentic on video versus any kind of static content, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And in the age of AI, where everybody's using some kind of AI to write their content, once you get on camera, your personality shows through. So it is kind of a nice add-on to personal branding. I mean, you still need the other pieces of, what you talk about and who you're targeting, but once you get on camera, like that, nobody else can be you.
Right.
Unless you have an evil twin, like nobody else is you.
Exactly. That is not something that you can fake, and you don't need the little "this was made by AI" tag in your content that you create. So this has been
Yeah.
great. This has been such a good conversation. Did you have any, well, you know what, actually, before we wrap up, I would love to know, do you have any tips for people who may be worried about using video, or anything that you can share with them to kind of ease their fears a little bit?
Well, one of the things is if you have, in particular with live videos, so if you have not been going live before, when you do your first live video, particularly if you don't promote it ahead of time, there's a very real chance that nobody's going to show up live. So and then as you get consistency and start, making more videos, and the algorithm starts seeing you're doing it, you'll gradually start getting people to show up as your skill improves. So it's sort of like if you decided I wanted to be an in-person speaker, you don't go day one, do a TED talk in front of 1,000 people. You start off, maybe you practice with your cat, and then maybe you rope your kids and bribe them with candy if they'll listen to your talk. And then you do a local little, business group, and you gradually build up. And it's the same with live video. You can start with, just by yourself and try it out. And then, of course, the other nice thing is if it's really bad, if it really truly genuinely is bad, you can delete it when you're done. Like it doesn't
Right.
have to stay there forever. But I actually have a great story about why you shouldn't delete it, even if it's not the best. So there's a client of mine who is a business coach, and she was building her business on the side while she still worked. And she decided, I don't want to do video, even though she's an excellent speaker. Like, I don't know why, because she's brilliant and she's so engaging, but she didn't want to do video. And she finally got talked into it. And she goes, okay, I'm going to do a LinkedIn video, but I'm going to, just so that I know how to do it. And then I'm going to delete it right away. And then she did the video, and then the phone rang or something. So she kind of got distracted and she left the video up. She came back a couple hours later and she was horrified. Like, she actually told me later she was really mad that people had seen this video, because people had seen it. Some people had liked it. There'd been a few comments, and she was mad because she goes, I hadn't done my makeup and there were some mistakes in it. I would have done it again if I'd known people were going to see it. And then she decided, okay, I'm going to sleep on it and then I'll delete it in the morning. And then the next morning, she's got a DM on LinkedIn from one of her connections who was an executive director of an organization full of her ideal clients. And the executive director said, we were just in the process of designing a training program for our members on the topic of your video. And we've decided we don't want to do that anymore. We want to hire you to teach it.
Oh
And
my gosh, that's amazing.
and it wasn't a perfect video. She didn't have everything exactly right, but because she knows her stuff and she's really smart and really talented, this executive director saw that and said, why would we do it when there's somebody who can do it better? So, and you never know when the perfect person is going to see your video. And
Yeah.
so don't worry about perfect. Just worry about, really focusing on what the other person who's watching your video needs to learn and what it is that you can share. And you just never know what amazing things are going to happen.
Yeah, that's such a good story, and it reminds me of another story I heard. I can't remember the specifics of it, but essentially, it was this creator who had been creating videos for, I don't know, 4 years, and maximum got like 30 views. 30 views maximum over the course of however many years. And one video was viewed by a producer, I think, of the Oprah show. And that video landed that person on the Oprah show. And then, it exploded. And
Yes.
I wish I could remember the specifics of who it was, but I just remember when you mentioned that story, I was like, okay, that reminds me of this other story. It's like, you never know. Oprah will probably not see your video, but that's okay. There's so many other people out there, and you never know what will happen. So I love that. I think that's so great. So thank you for
And
sharing.
for most of us who are coaches, like, we really do have a limited number of people that we can serve at any one time, and so you don't need to go viral. You really don't. You just need to have the small number of people who are your ideal clients and who would love to work with you and need to work with you to actually see your videos, and you can, grow your business.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And that's a perfect way to end this conversation. So thank you for sharing all of that. And just as a reminder, for those of you who may have joined us a little bit later, Andrea's video action plan workbook and her LinkedIn profile makeover is available inside of the Blake Friday bundle. That is a collection of more than 70 different resources that's available from now until November 26th at 11:59 p.m. Central. It's only $7. It's crazy. It's
And
crazy.
I've
Only
already been going through and looking at the things that I want for me, because there's some really fabulous stuff in there.
Yeah.
So, anything, like, because nobody can know everything. So if there's something that you don't know how to do or you wish you knew how to do, you're probably going to find it in this bundle.
Yes. 95. Let's say 95% sure you will find something that will help you in here. And even if it's one thing, you've already made your money back because you're not having to spend the full amount to get it, right? So thank you again, Andrea, for being here. This was such a great conversation. And if people want to find you, where is the best place for them to do that?
Well, I'm Andrea Stenberg on all the social media platforms, or you can visit my home on the web, which is thebabyboomerentrepreneur.com.
Love that. That's great. Thank you so much again for being here. And thank you to everybody who was listening in. We'll see you later.